The Christmas Pig, written by J.K. Rowling, illustrated by Jim Field. Chapter 24, Lunchbox. Jack and the Christmas Pig crept out of their room and back along the dark corridor, the pig holding his belly tight to muffle the sound of his beans, until they reached door number 23. Jack knocked softly, and the old tin lunchbox opened it. "Do you mind if we come in?" asked the Christmas Pig. "Not at all," Lunchbox said politely, though she sounded surprised. Lunchbox's room was quite as dark, as shabby as the one they'd left, and even smaller. It looked over the back of the saloon, across the many low wooden houses of disposable. Snow was still falling heavily past the window. "Good news," the Christmas Pig told Lunchbox. "The adjusters have just arrived. If you can prove you've got an inhaler inside you, they're going to take you out of disposable." "Well, of course I can prove it," cried Lunchbox joyfully, and she let her lid fall open. Sure enough, inside sat a glum-looking inhaler, who said in a woozy voice, "If I'm the reason we're being adjusted, why can't I—" But she didn't finish her question because the Christmas Pig had just jumped into the lunchbox beside her and covered her mouth with his trotters. Jack squeezed inside too. It was very cramped, and he could smell the egg sandwiches. "That's extremely rude," said Lunchbox's shocked voice from above them. "You can't just walk in without an invitation." "Shut your lid," said the Christmas Pig fiercely. "Or we'll tell them you offered to smuggle us to the next town, and you'll be checked out onto the waste for helping surplus." Get out, cried the lunchbox, jumping up and down as she tried to dislodge them. But Jack and the Christmas Pig clung on. "I'll tell them you jumped in and tried to make me smuggle you." "It'll be our word against yours," said the Christmas Pig. "And what's more, if you don't help us, my action figure friend here will break this inhaler. And if the inhaler's broken, you'll never be adjusted. Drama Boy's got remarkably fine fingers, you know, perfect for breaking things." Even though the whole idea of getting inside the lunchbox had been Jack's, he now felt both frightened and guilty. He couldn't help feeling sorry for the lunchbox, and he definitely didn't want to break the inhaler. He was also shocked at how mean the Christmas Pig was being to these poor things. But before he could say any of this, there was a knock on the door. "Lunchy!" came Old Speck's voice from outside in the corridor. At once, Lunchbox slammed her lid shut, leaving Jack and the pig squashed together in the dark with the inhaler. "Yes," they heard Lunchbox say in a quavering voice. "Good news. You're being adjusted." "Oh," came Lunchbox's muffled voice. Wonderful." "You all right, dearie? You don't sound that pleased." "No, I am. I'll just miss you, Specs." "Well, now," said the sheriff, sounding touched. "Ain't that sweet? But you'd better hurry. The adjusted team's running late." The lunchbox's lid was a little bit warped, which was lucky as it let in enough air for Jack to breathe, not to mention a tiny ray of light. Squashed together inside the dark tin, Jack and the Christmas Pig felt the lunchbox hopping downstairs into the bar. Lunchy's tin bottom made such a rocket, crossing the wooden floor, that Jack felt safe to whisper to the Christmas Pig, who still had his trotters clamped over the inhaler's mouth. There was no need to threaten her like that. "Do you want to find DP or not?" "Of course I do," said Jack. "But you're horrible," says the boy who tried to pull off my head, said the Christmas Pig. "Stopping going on about that. I've said I'm sorry." The lunchbox kept bouncing along, and Jack knew they'd reached the street when they heard the paint knight's voice quite close by. "You there, lunchbox? You're right in my wagon, as you're biggest." Here, Chisel, help her up. No, I can manage, said Lunchbox, sounding scared. Jack guessed she didn't want any of the lost adjusters to feel how heavy she was, when she was only supposed to have an inhaler inside her. She made several little jumps, then finally managed to land with her clunk inside the wooden wagon. Sorry I'm late, came a new voice. I'm so pleased to be going. Now that you haven't been kind, Specs. Very kind. But I won't miss sharing a room with Hanky. He hasn't washed since he got here. Poor fella, said the sheriff sadly. He's given up. Some things do when they haven't been found for years. Well, good luck, Pokey. Goodbye, Fingers. Goodbye, Lunchy. We'll miss you. So long, Specs, called Penknife. Mind you contact captures about those toys now. The wooden wagon moved off. Jack could hear the footsteps of the two heavy elephants crunching in the snow, the buzz of the clockwork mouse, and the occasional yap of the fuzzy dog. I'm going to let go of you now, the Christmas pig whispered to the inhaler. But if you scream or give us away, we'll make sure you get thrown onto the waste with us. The inhaler gave a little puff, which seemed to be her way of agreeing, and the Christmas pig let her go. She drew a long, wheezy breath, then whispered, You're both very rude and nasty, but it's also nice to see something apart from inside of this tin, so hello and welcome. The three carriages moved on for what felt like at least an hour, and Jack was getting quite tired of the smell of egg sandwiches when they heard a voice from up ahead. Halt! The wooden wagon trundled to a stop. Jack and the Christmas pig looked at each other, and Jack could tell from the expression in the pig's little black plastic eyes that he too was scared. Documents, said the rasping voice. They heard the shuffling of papers. One Pokemon card, Pokey, owners realized could be valuable. Check, said the cruel voice. One gardening glove, Fingers. Owner can't find new ones as comfortable. Check. One lunchbox, Lunchy. Owners remembered there's an inhaler inside her. Something banged hard on the side of Lunchbox, who let out a yelp of pain. You in there, inhaler? Snarled the voice. Yes, called the inhaler. Check, said the cruel voice. All right, you can proceed. Keep your eyes peeled, though, Penknife. We're on high alert. I suppose you've heard there's something down here that shouldn't be. Yes, any description yet? Asked Penknife. Not yet, said the cruel voice. But I've never seen the loser so angry. You've seen him? Said the Penknife nervously. Oh yes, said the cruel voice. He told me the night for miracles and lost causes won't last forever. Once it's over, finders keepers. What does that mean? Asked Penknife. No idea, snarled the cruel voice. Just keep watch for anything acting strangely. With that, the wooden cart rolled on again. He dented me, Lunchy complained to Penknife. Well, that's Hammer for you, said Penknife. Never looks when he can bash. He raised his voice to address all three passengers. You lot might as well get comfy and sleep, if you can. We've got a long way to go. The cart now started to move uphill. Jack, who found himself first to the back of the lunchbox, managed to curl up in a corner, wrapped in the blanket he'd brought from Disposable, with his face lying against the Christmas pig's soft head. It wasn't at all like curling up with DP, but it was comfier than leaning against the cold tin wall.